So it's my privilege and my honor to introduce our keynote speaker. The Right Honorable David Johnston, when he was installed as the 28th Governor General of this country, signaled a vision that called for each of us to do more and reflect upon our obligations to each other and to community, and to ask how, between now and the country's 150th birthday in 2017, we each could contribute to making smarter and more caring communities. A worthwhile and noble goal that is achievable and is being achieved in places like the McWeston neighborhood, sir, that you visited and inspired this morning. The Governor General was born and raised in Northern Ontario. He excelled scholastically in Sault Ste. Marie and apparently played a little hockey with the Esposito boys, which I guess they were not bad hockey players. Elbows were up. He went to Harvard, where he not only excelled in the classroom, but he was the captain of the hockey team and was inducted into the Harvard Hockey Hall of Fame, a first for a Canadian. He earned law degrees at Cambridge and at Queen's, and as he told a gathering earlier today, he then fell in love with the academic world and ideas and spent 44 years in academic leadership. First as the Dean of the Law School at the University of Western Ontario, a great place, Your Excellency, if I say in my wholly unbiased opinion, as is McMaster. He was then the principal at McGill, and most recently was the president at the University of Waterloo. He chaired and led numerous initiatives and task forces nationally. He served on corporate boards. He always had a vision of a stronger and better Canada. He did a couple of things you may not be aware of. The Pekins are here. We talked about this, Your Excellency. He moderated a number of federal leaders' debate, including the famous 1984 Mulroney-Turner Broadbent debate. He's an avid athlete, and as I teased his security guards from the RCMP earlier, even at this stage in his life, he's committed on a daily basis to swimming, to skating, to running. And as a very slow marathoner, sir, I envy that very much. That's a great role model for all of us. And in the rest of his life, he married his high school sweetheart, Mrs. Sharon Johnston. They have 5 grown daughters and 8 grandchildren, including Emma, who he regaled us about, an 8 or 9-year-old granddaughter. And if you'll allow me a personal digression before I turn the microphone over to you, sir, you would appreciate, most of all as the father of 5 daughters, how hard it is sometimes to meet the expectations of your children. And I need you to know that Maureen and I have been blessed with 3 beautiful kids who are sitting a couple of rows behind you. And today is my middle daughter Frances's 8th birthday. And I can't tell you how impressed she is that her father was able to arrange to have the Governor General come to town to celebrate her birthday. For that, and for all that you've done as a Canadian, sir, we're honored to have you here as our keynote speaker at the Carolyn Milne Leadership Forum. Please join me in providing a warm Hamilton welcome to the Governor General of Canada, the Right Honorable David Johnston. Sir.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much, Terry, Carolyn, dear friends, chers amis. I'm a man of faith, and as I was listening to Terry provide that introduction, I felt moved to prayer. I had to pray twice, once for him for taking such liberties with the truth, and next for me for enjoying it so much. Vraiment, je veux dire, c'est vraiment un honneur pour moi d'être parmi vous pour cette lecture, ce discours en honneur de Carolyn Milne. I'm truly honored to be able to speak to you all today, especially in this wonderful place, Hamilton, and in the tradition that Carolyn has set here. This is a remarkable space. Space defines us. As Terry indicated, this was the transportation and circulation center, wasn't it? So many people came for the first time here to Hamilton through this station with their ideas for better family, better community, etc. And today it's been renovated, it's been reinvigorated, it's been reinvented as also a transportation and circulation center, but this time of good ideas, how we develop good ideas, converse with our neighbors, and build a better community as a consequence. I want to pay tribute to the sponsors. I have great admiration for ArcelorMittal Dofasco because I worked for 7 summers at Algoma Steel and Sault Ste. Marie, and we tried very hard to keep up with Dofasco, but I got to tell you, it was a challenge. And I still remember that slogan. I don't know whether it still operates, but our product is steel, our strength is people, and my heavens, did Dofasco ever have strong people, and still does. The Shermans, that great family that developed Dofasco, as I understand it, were the people that drove the Community Foundation back in 1954, and that it's just what you would expect from them. Terry, you're right. I am a bit of a runner, but it has some embarrassing and intriguing moments. One of them was in Resolute Bay. It was last August. Sharon and I were on a tour of Nunavut. We've been to all provinces and all territories in the country, and we were participating in the most northerly Terry Fox run in the world at Resolute Bay, sponsored by the local high school and community there. And Sharon and I were going to run 5 kilometers in this race, and I was there with the starting gun to start it off. And just before it started, a little Inuit guy of about 9 years of age came up to me and he said, "Who are you anyway?" I said, "I'm the Governor General of Canada, here to start this race." He says, "What's your name anyway?" I said, "My name is David." He said, "Well, David, how old are you anyway?" I said, "I'm 69 years old." He says, "Oh my, I didn't think anybody could get that old." So Sharon and I finished the race. We came back, and I came in front of that little guy, and I said, "Not dead yet." And Francis, you're right. This is a holiday for school from you, and I'm here to declare it, so spend the rest of the day with us. We have 8 grandchildren, and one of our family events is to do voluntary things together. And we have, I think, run as a family in every Terry Fox run since it started, and that would be more than 25 years ago. I think there are about 125 countries in the world which host a Terry Fox run. You know, one more of those great Canadian ideas that has spread around the world and touched people's lives to deal with that great dread disease, cancer. And this was 2 years ago when our 4-year-old twins were age 2. And I was running in this Terry Fox race, and my son-in-law and daughter were with the twins in their stroller. And Roger, my son-in-law, who's quite an athlete, was pushing them along, going at a great speed, and I was staggering along, dying. And we got to a hill, so he said very graciously, with this hill, "Maybe Grandpa Book would like to push the stroller." So I pushed the stroller, and it went very well downhill, and then we hit the flat part, and then we started coming up a hill, and I was dying. And the 2 twins, age 2, were giggling away at their Grandpa Book pushing the stroller. And I said, "Just you wait, in a few years the roles will be reversed. I'll be in that stroller giggling up at you." I'm so delighted to be with you here, particularly during National Volunteer Week. We had a wonderful ceremony yesterday at Rideau Hall with the Caring Canadian Awards, first started by Governor General Romeo LeBlanc in 1995. And we there honored 28 Canadians from across the country, the unsung heroes, the people who do those marvelous community things day in, day out, year upon year, with no particular applause and not seeking it, just to put a light on the unsung heroes. One of them was a little 8-year-old girl, Caliana, who at school had a classmate who was in a wheelchair because of muscular dystrophy. And she was moved by that and wanted to do something about it. So she decided she would seek $100, and if she got $100 from the neighborhood, she'd dye her hair pink. And as she said, $100 is a lot of money for an 8-year-old. Well, that was quite successful. So she decided she'd do the same thing, but this time she would cut off her hair. and she raised $14,500 and is still going strong. From the outset of my mandate, I've been exploring ways that we as Canadians can work together to build a smarter, more caring nation, and both adjectives are important. I'm humbled that so many have taken up this cause. In fact, community foundations across the country, including this one, have been discussing ways that we can apply this locally, creating smart and caring communities. How can we go about this? Well, the first step is to identify the strengths and weaknesses of our communities, which will lead us to the needs of the community. We had a wonderful example of that this morning. Is David Derbyshire with us? David, are you with us? David was with us at lunch. David is the community leader. David, there's David right over there. Another good. We had a terrific time this morning, David, didn't we, with all those community folks?
Wonderful, Your Honor.
It was wonderful. And the first thing that David and the other people did going into the community was not to say we're here to tell you what to do, but we're here to listen and learn what your strengths or assets, as they call them, are, and how do we bring these assets, gifts together to build a better community, and have they ever done so? Now, David had a little advantage. We were at the community center, and his childhood home was just about 2 houses away, so he knew the lay of the land, but it was a place that's developed strengths, and not weaknesses, but challenges, and have worked to overcome them. Overall, Canadian communities are strong. I must say, the thing that has struck me most in this job is I love this country, and I've always regarded it as a good country. In fact, when I come back from overseas trips, I'm almost tempted to kneel down and kiss the ground. It's such a good place. But I didn't realize how good it was when we see community upon community, as my wife and I do, and see the good things that are going on. One feels quite inspired. The very first World Happiness Report was released recently, and it ranked Canada 5th overall, based on many indicators, including our social capital. That means our relationships with and within our communities. Canadian research supports this as well. The Canadian Index of Well-Being, which is based at my old university, the University of Waterloo, seeks to improve our lives by helping us to understand key factors that influence our quality of life. It's like the Vital Signs Initiative, which is part of Community Foundation's United Way, and uses a broad base of indicators to help us to identify our strengths and our challenges and build upon them. One of the indicators in the CIW is community vitality. To share with you just some of our strengths, crime rates are dropping, volunteering in the community is rising. In fact, there are 13 million Canadians who volunteered last year. But of course, there are difficulties. We still struggle with issues of poverty and inequality. Last month at Rita Hall, my wife Sharon and I met with representatives from Aboriginal communities to talk about the issues of health and well-being that affect their children and families. And this has been a particular interest of my wife's under the family and children head of our Smart and Caring Nation mandate. There's an enormous amount of work to be done on that front, as you know. When looking at the evolving needs of the community, any community, there are many different areas to consider. For example, demographically, we're an aging population with all the associated challenges. Knowing this now, what can we do to ensure that the older generation is well cared for? For that matter, what can we do for the younger generation to prepare them for this change? Economically, some find themselves in enviable positions, while others struggle to find sound financial footing. According to the OECD, our wage gap is increasing and is now at record highs. What can we do to combat the perils of poverty and inequality? Some nonprofits, meanwhile, are looking for additional funding sources brought about by a stagnation of donations in recent years and an increase in competition. How will giving evolve? How will nonprofits evolve? I was at a conference 2 days ago on voluntary initiatives, and somebody used a phrase I hadn't heard for the first time, called shoebox charities. And shoebox charities, I guess, are what you call grassroots charities. They start from an idea with very little by way of financial or other support, and they use a shoebox to collect some revenues, and away they go. And the beauty of that, of course, is the constant renewing. It's coming up with new ideas, it's initiative, it's innovation, it's ingenuity. And as I heard about that shoebox, I thought of, I've been a university president for 27 years, and I collected mission stories. Some of them show great imagination. I was at McGill when this story occurred. One day, a box arrived at our office, look, a shoebox. We opened it very carefully, as one does in these days, and lo and behold, it was a shoebox, and lo and behold, inside was a shoe, not a pair, but a shoe. It was an old running shoe, and pinned to the cuff of the running shoe was a note. And I opened it, and it read, "Now that I have got one shoe in the door," you know what's coming next, don't you? How do I get the other shoe in the door? Will you please review my application to first-year engineering, which was turned down? Now, university presidents are never, and nor they should be, involved in admissions, but I did push a little bit on this one to send the shoebox to the Dean of Engineering, and I said, I don't know what this student's grade point transcript was out of high school, but you got to give him high marks for ingenuity. The first step in facing these challenges is to collaborate so that we can strengthen our communities together. But this is no simple task, and it requires great effort from all sides. A 2010 study by the Canadian Council on Social Development on the subject of community vitality reported that more than half of Canadians surveyed felt that you can't be too careful in dealing with people, an increase from 2005. And the Vancouver Community Foundation did an assessment of the needs of Vancouver about a year ago, and they expected to find issues of unemployment, issues of drug addiction, issues of mental health, issues of homelessness. The overwhelming issue that was identified was isolation, was lack of engagement with, was detachment from their community. This is really an issue of trust and compassion, those two really important words, trust and compassion. They're central because they inform how we collaborate. Without trust, we can't work together. And without trust, volunteerism and philanthropy, compassionate giving, cannot thrive. As Governor General, I believe I have a role to play in encouraging more trust, which I do by sharing stories. And am I ever going to have a whole lot of fun sharing the stories that I've collected from Hamilton this morning and during the balance of the day? Let me share one with you now. As I mentioned yesterday, I was honored to present the Caring Canadian Awards. One of the award recipients, apart from 8-year-old Caliana, she of the pink hair, or no hair, as the case may be, was Elaine McGee. Elaine created the Fondation Marchand à tes côtés, Fondation Marchand à tes côtés, which works to break the cycle of poverty. She's given young people, including single mothers and others, a chance to return to their studies to help their families gain renewed hope for the future. Elaine has also set up a network of benefactors and volunteers, all dedicated to the cause. In other words, she's brought others into her tent. In this way, Elaine is engendering trust, not only within her own network, but also with the families who receive their help. And when others are exposed to the trusting nature of a group such as Marchand à tes côtés, they are more likely to trust in the caring nature of others and to volunteer their own time to help someone else in need. I often draw on Jefferson's image of a burning candle. Thomas Jefferson once said that my lit candle represents knowledge, and when you light your unlit candle from my lit candle, my light is not diminished, it's enhanced. Learning represents, the candle of light represents learning, and on my coat of arms are crafted, first of all, the image of a book. In fact, it's 5 books because I have 5 daughters to whom I hope we've transmitted some learning. And then the candle, which reflects the illumination, the light that comes from learning. Le partage des connaissances éclaire collectivement nos sociétés et notre monde. Lorsque vous allumez votre bougie, votre candle, à partir de la mienne, mon éclairage ne diminue pas pour autant. Au contraire, il devient plus vif. It becomes even brighter. Trust begets trust. Elaine's story shows this, and so too do all of the people involved with the Hamilton Community Foundation. And so I urge you to spread your own stories of giving. Share your light with others and help them see that to build a better community, a smart and caring community, they need to trust in their neighbors and in themselves, as well as to collaborate with others so that we may all benefit. Sharing our stories is important. Collaborating is important, but so too is thinking innovatively. Last year, I met with representatives from Pathways to Education Canada, and my understanding, Terry, is that idea started right here. It was funded here in Hamilton. That marvelous initiative ensures that all youth, no matter their social or economic situation, have the same opportunity for academic success, and it has made great progress towards achieving its goals. Working alongside the school system and in partnership with dedicated volunteers, Pathways is reducing dropout rates, which has plummeted in the particular school I was looking at from 56% to 12%, the high school dropout rate. In addition, 80% of its graduates attend college or university. These results from Regent Park, one of the most challenging communities in the whole of Canada, led Pathways to replicate its success in 5 other communities, including Hamilton, across Ontario and Quebec. Its volunteers and staff have built an organization from the ground up, transforming a troubled neighborhood into one that offers a brighter future for its children. This transformation resulted from a dedicated few seeing a problem in the community and thinking of ways to overcome obstacles. And this, of course, is social innovation at its best. New ideas for a new time, just like this renovated old railway station, new ideas for a new time. And it is new ideas that will be required as we redefine volunteerism and philanthropy for the 21st century. Hamilton knows how to be a leader. It knows how to be innovative. History has borne this out. Nearly 60 years ago, the very first community foundation in Ontario found roots right here, and that was no accident. The citizens of Hamilton recognized that the model that began elsewhere in Canada could work perfectly here to build a better city, a more sustainable city. Hamilton is home to caring and giving people who see the importance of strengthening the community for today and for our children's future. And so you have transformed your city for the better. You are able to attract compassionate people because you are compassionate yourselves in all you do. The innovative ideas that will be vital in the years to come will come from community organizations like yours. In fact, that is precisely what all community foundations have been doing throughout their histories. Its members embody the ideals of smart and caring communities. You know what needs to be done, you know how to be innovative, and you've achieved the desired results through altruism, original ideas, and sheer effort. National Volunteer Week is the perfect time to talk about where we want our country to be and what we want to look like in 5 years' time when we celebrate the 150th anniversary of Canada. How will we volunteer? How will we give? And how will Hamilton Community Foundation continue to create the smart and caring communities of tomorrow? Let us share what we know, communicate, collaborate, innovate, and build the better country that starts with people like you. Let me leave you with the couplet from Shaw, my favorite 2 lines from George Bernard Shaw that go this way. Some people see things as they are and wonder why. We dream of things that ought to be and ask, why not? Merci.